Right, folks, welcome again to another Wheelchair Wednesday. I am your host, Wheelchair Rick. I'm a T3, T4 paraplegic, and today we have a special guest coming to us. I'm going to play a little bit of her video from a Big Elk Hunt that she did, and you guys can kind of check that out, and then later on we'll talk to her about it. So check this out, and then we're going to go straight into the intro.
I remember that morning, and the thought for the calendar that day was, don't let the need for perfection paralyze you. Golly, that just seemed to sum up my whole life. I felt like I tried to make everything perfect. And I remember them telling my family at 5:20 that afternoon that I was paralyzed from the chest down. You don't realize what you have from this chair. It can really speak to people about being a mother or being a woman or being someone to just motivate others or inspire others. There's something inside of you that you didn't lose. You may not have mobility. You just can't give up on things because you can do so much more, and you have to make each day a moment.
All right, folks, it's that time again. Let's welcome our special guest, Lynette Jones. How are you? And that crowd gets rowdy sometimes. How are you? How you doing?
I'm great. Glad to be here.
Awesome. Glad to have you. It's kind of crazy how I came about you. I think somebody actually messaged me and said, hey, you should have Lynette on here. And so I kind of did my research, and surprisingly enough, found the video, and man, the video blew me away. Like, that was just, wasn't expecting that, you know what I mean?
They did a great.
Yes, and everybody watching the video of her going on her Big Elk Hunt, New Mexico, right? Yeah, it was very, very well put together. It was something that's like, I don't know. It's unexplainable. It's something you would just seen it like pop on TV and it would be there. But it was like watching you and doing the, going up the mountain and the coyote and them kind of helping you in and out of different situations and putting the stuff on. Tell me a little bit about that. What was that like?
Well, first of all, my husband put me in for, different hunts around the area just to try to get me back out into the wilderness and hunting and that type of thing. And before we knew it, we drew an elk tag, which was like pretty crazy. And, I didn't know what to expect, but, we just loaded up the truck and we drove to New Mexico. And it's in Unit 16D in the Gila Mountains in New Mexico. And if any of you get a chance to look that up, it's a prime hunting spot for elk. And so we were just super excited, and Chad with Able Outdoors came along with us, and it was his actual a film crew that he has. His name is Nick, and he's with Crooked Canyon Productions.
Oh,
and
nice.
he just it's actual hunting. It's not like you are going into someone's feeder and then the animal's going to come out and you're going to shoot it. This is real.
You're going out in the wilderness. Yeah, you're
hunting.
going out in the wilderness and you're finding them and you're hunting them down.
Exactly.
Now, in the video, I've noticed, was that your husband there picking you up and kind of putting you in and out of vehicles and stuff? Okay, because I was wondering, I was like, is that part of their package, or,
No.
what is that about?
That was him.
Nice.
That every day.
Now, the coyote, what was that like? Did you guys bring that, or was that something that they provided?
That was so cool. Chad is actually, kind of a spokesperson for them, and he's done some videos. If you go to their website, the Coyote Outrider, you'll see he's doing some fishing videos from the Coyote. It's actually made for able-bodied, but he is trying to get this made into something for wheelchair users.
Right.
So he brought two of them on this trip with us, and I saw it and I thought, oh my gosh, how are they going to get me in it? But it just had a metal seat. We just took my cushion out, put my cushion in the seat, and then we put a back, like a chair cushion cover, and then they strapped in my chest because I don't have balance, and then strapped my legs in, and there's a little toggle switch, and you hit that button and off you go.
Ah, that sounds amazing.
Oh, I just wish I could tell you. I mean, you just don't. I've said this before, and I know we'll get there in a moment, but for wheelchair users out there, you're usually waiting for someone to come to you, or, with this, you're able to go with them. You're
Right.
going on your
Side
own.
by side with them, yeah.
Yeah.
Yep. Yeah, because I think, like, looking at that, like the video, it does look like it's kind of close to the ground. Like you might need
Yes.
some help getting up, because like me, I've never been kind of that low, you know what I mean, besides doing training and, trying to get myself up off the ground. But like just trying to think about getting from the chair into that and then back out of that into the chair again, you're going to need some help probably. I mean, most of us, you know what I mean?
Yes. They're still working on it, so there's no telling what all they're going to have to make it more user friendly.
Right. Now, I do got another little bit of footage from, I don't want to give it too much of the video away, but like, because I mean, it's definitely worth watching. But the final shot that you got, the one that you got him on, I took a little clip of that and made that. We'll show that there at the end for the people so they can kind of
Okay.
check that out. But before we get into all that, the first question that I normally ask people is how did it happen? Explain kind of your injury, how it came about, and how you became a wheelchair user.
Well, I had just moved to Waco, Texas, and started a new job. That's why I love what you have there, with 5 radio stations,
Oh, nice.
your phone and such. But I was a marketing consultant, and I was on my way to a live broadcast when I reached on the floor, leaned over, reached on the floorboard for the directions. And as I started coming up, I had gone off the side of the highway, and I overcorrected and rolled it 6 times. And,
That's all it takes.
That's all it takes. So I am a C6, 7 quadriplegic from the chest down.
Okay. How is your like mobility, like your movement inside the house? I mean, are you able to still like, open doors and refrigerator,
Yes.
grab drinks, stuff like that?
Yes, like I have hands. This one doesn't, do a lot except with, your tenodesis that you learn.
Right.
And then this one had a tendon surgery, so I have some grip.
Okay.
So I propel a manual wheelchair, but when I'm going out and about, I prefer a power wheelchair just to get me, around.
Right. For sure. It's a lot easier. That's for sure.
Right.
The second question that I kind of ask people is it's kind of a difficult one. I don't know what would say difficult, but it's kind of weird in this aspect of a lot of people say no. And the question would be, if you could go back to that day and you could not veer off the highway and flip over and, go through your accident, if you could change that and go back on living your regular life, and just all this that you've learned since then be gone and you just restart from that point, would you do that, or would you stay where you're at now?
No, there is no, I am the woman I am today because of this chair.
Right.
And I love who I am, and it's made me a better person.
I can dig it. That's where
Yeah,
I'm
I
at.
would
And that's what's funny is a lot of people do say, they're like, no, I would keep going just like I am right
Yeah.
now. And it's a lot of people don't understand that. They're like, why? Why would you not want to go back and do this? Why would you
Oh,
not want to live a
I know.
life without pain every day? You know what I mean? Why wouldn't you just go back and that's kind of like we were talking before we went live. You know, I mean, I wouldn't be who I am today. I wouldn't be doing this today. And I
Yeah.
mean, I believe that I'm helping more people now than I ever have before.
Exactly.
I hope so, at least. You know what I mean? The next question is dating/married, or like, what was it like? How is it like?
Well, the accident was in '99, and I had just gone through a divorce. So I had a very young son, and you know, it's difficult for a female, in that dating process because, as you know, there's so much that goes on with our bodies. There's so many things that, you know, aren't easy for people to understand, and it takes a lot to just go out on a date.
Oh yeah.
And I was just very, very blessed. It was about, let's see, I met him in 2011, and he'd actually asked me to speak for his organization, Christian Courage. And when I first met him, I was like, oh my gosh, this is the man of my dreams.
Right.
And so it just took him a little bit longer to come around. But what was the ease of dating with him? His wife had just battled cancer for 14 years, and she had passed. And a lot of the things that he had done for her, he wasn't schemish or squeamish, I should say, or afraid or anything.
Right.
I mean, I remember, in fact, we'll all get this one. We'd gone to this prison to speak, and I had on a pair of cowboy boots, and I had my leg bag, put into the cowboy boots. Well, it had gotten so full that I couldn't get it out. So
Oh, no.
he doesn't know that I have this. So I'm like, oh my gosh, I'm going to have to ask him to get it out.
Oh no.
Needless to say, he got that out and just said, it was
No
nothing
big
for me.
deal. Right.
No big deal.
What else you got for me?
Isn't that the truth? So my point is, there was a lot of prayer. I prayed for a man of God with a good back, and I've
Oh,
got
there you
both.
go. Nice.
So yeah, the dating process though, it was tough. But we've been married since 2013, and gosh, we travel, we fish, we hunt, we go all over. If we get an opportunity to go fishing or hunting, we're there.
Nice.
And we
Nice.
do we try to just spread the encouraging message that, life is good. It's what you make of it.
Right. Exactly. Exactly. That's something big too to for people to see and understand that it's just it's not over just because it's like all you got to do is try. Put yourself back out there. Figure out a way to quote unquote get back on the horse. And keep trucking along. Luckily, I mean, I had my beautiful fiance before, the accident, and that was a big help getting through. You know what I mean? Like getting through the whole thing as her. And I remember like
Yes.
being like, "Is she still there? Where's she at?" And they're like, "Calm down. She's
Yeah.
sleeping. Like let her sleep." And I'm like, "Oh, she's been such an angel the whole time too." So I understand kind of
Oh,
what it
God.
takes and what she goes through. And it's like, it's a lot. It's not easy
It's
at
a
all.
lot.
Yeah.
It's not easy as a caregiver. It is not easy.
Yep.
It's we have to take good care of them also.
Yeah, oh, exactly, 100%. This is a live show, and I got people that will sometimes comment. Our buddy Ben said, I got a walker now, try not to use it, though. He's got back problems where eventually he's going to have to, probably use a wheelchair. So
Yes.
he's got to look forward to it, and it's kind of like creeping up on him. That's kind of where he likes listening and hearing other people's stories.
If you are listening, I will say to you, you can get around much faster in a wheelchair than you can on a walker.
Yep.
And you're going to save so much more time. Now, you're speaking to a shopper. I like to shop.
Uh-oh.
So the mobility is awesome. So do not worry. It's all good.
Nice. But we were on to the next question, which is the pet peeves. What is your biggest pet peeve about being in a wheelchair?
Wow. I've never been asked that. In fact, I don't know if I can even think of one.
Kind of takes you a
Oh, I
minute
can't
unless you
wear
got
high
one.
heels.
Oh, yeah. Well, no, because you'd probably get a pressure sore, wouldn't you?
No, not so much, but it's just, you know, they don't look
It's not
to
the
me,
same.
they don't, it's just not the same as walking in high heels.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, I can't think of anything. What's yours?
I knew you were going to ask that, too, as I was just thinking about it. And I did have a good one, but now I forgot about it. A lot of people say they don't like being pushed, which I understand that. Like, if you're in a manual wheelchair and you're out and about and you got your handles up and somebody grabs them to push you. But I just had one the other
Yeah, that's a
day.
good
I
one.
was talking to my fiance, and I can't remember what it was. But I'm gonna make sure now that I think about it, and it's like on my
Yeah.
brain. But
Now,
like,
I will say, if somebody else grabs a hold of the back of me that I don't know very well or whatever, that that really does get me because it scares me because,
yeah, you're like,
you
who
know,
the heck are
everybody,
you?
it's like, what are you doing? Yeah, that has
Right.
happened. Okay, feel you on that one.
Yep. Yeah, now you're gonna make me have to get that one and slap it up somewhere. I always have these different reminders to like do certain things all around me. But so the next question that I have is, what is something? Thank you, Danny Jackson, for that share. I gotta turn that noise down. That's super loud. Scares me sometimes. That's when somebody shares it. It makes a noise. You'll see it when you watch it back.
Okay.
Something you wish you could do now that you couldn't, like, so something that you used to do before, right? That you can no longer do now, being in a chair. What is something that you wish you could just do, even if it's just,
Well, my husband wishes I could cook.
well, that's a good thing. I mean, I have seen them come in and make people's home mods where they can get a roll under stove.
Oh, no, the house is completely accessible. I just don't cook very well.
Oh, well, hey, there you go.
There you go.
Yeah, I can understand that.
Something that I wish I could do. Oh, dance.
Oh, there, that's a nice one.
That is a good one. Yes.
Nice.
I wish I could.
Dancing is definitely not the same, and like even giving hugs is different when you're not standing straight up holding somebody.
It
You know.
is. When
Yeah.
when my son was little, he would tell me, he said, "Mommy, I'm gonna straddle hug you." So he'd get in my lap and he'd, you know, put his legs around me. And then as he started getting older, he'd put his legs over me. And now that he's 27, he just straddles over and just gives me that tight, good hug where it's up against each other.
Nice.
Because for years it was hard for me because people would just give you the little tap.
Yeah,
pat
the arm around the
hug.
shoulder and the tap. Yeah.
Yeah. And so I like to say, you know, I like a good hearty hug. So that is a good one. Hugging, yeah.
Yep. Yep. Ben says he misses riding BMX. Used to be a BMX rider. Yeah, and if you guys have any questions,
Oh
if
my
you're
God.
watching live, yeah, feel free to ask. We'll go ahead and ask her. As long as it's appropriate. Remember that one. That's the thing about doing a live show. You never know what's going to happen, but we try to keep it clean with our clean guests. It's all good, you know.
There you go.
The next question I have for you is a big one for a lot of people is, what's your pain level like? Do you have any pain that you deal with?
I do. I have a lot of shoulder pain. It's after many years of searching it, it's nerve damage in my left shoulder and it's behind the shoulder blade and it's like a lot of people's, it's like a ice pick.
Right.
And then in the right shoulder, it's a torn rotator cuff. For me, all of that started when I used to do a lot of scuba diving with a group here out of Austin called Eels on Wheels.
Okay.
And we're all obviously in wheelchairs. And we've been to lots of different places scuba diving, and I felt like if I could use my arms to swim and propel myself, I didn't want anybody to have to pull me through the water like they do with some people. And I just wore them out. So,
Right.
I've had a couple surgeries on my shoulder. But as far as that, it's mostly just shoulders for me.
Right. Yeah, mine's just specifically right in the middle, like of my spine, like where the point of injury is. I think
Yeah.
I got like two long big bars that are like connected, holding stuff together. So it's like if you can imagine waking up, and I remember the first time I woke up in the house when I came back. I'm like, it feels like I got like a metal bar in my back, and she's like, "That's because you do. You have two of them." And I'm like, "What?" It took a minute to remember everything, and I'm like, oh my goodness. And it's just constant.
Yeah.
And I never understood chronic pain until like you have to deal with it. But like that is something where, like some people say, well, I'll just do a little bit of, medicinal marijuana or something like that. I'm like, no, sir, that's not going to touch it. You know what I mean? I really
No.
need something that's going to cut that pain
Well,
down.
and I think that's what's hard for a lot of people is you have to be careful with all of that.
Yes.
And, so many people will say, oh, well, just use a heating pad or just do this or that. Well, it's not as easy as that. I mean, I've got in our car, when I'm not driving, I have a pillow that I have to prop this arm up on. There's so many things that we have to do. And I do hear you on that, like right where my C6 is, if the weather's a certain way, man, I can feel right where that break was. I can
Right.
feel that. But yeah, I can't imagine feeling where those rods are. That must be terrible.
Yeah, it's not fun. It's something you kind of have to get used to. And sometimes like, on good days when you're well hydrated and maybe after a nice shower and the sun's out and like you'll kind of forget about it. You know what I mean? I mean,
Yeah,
I've had nights on the
yeah.
town where I've had a good time and have a couple of drinks and it's like you forget about it until, then you kind of get back home and then you're just like, oh, being in your chair for so long or even rides down the road, can be,
And I know, yes, a lot of people deal with chronic pain
yep.
after.
My next question for you is what helped you the most after your injury?
When I was in the hospital, I went to TIR, which is the Institute for Research and Rehabilitation in Houston, Texas. And they have what's called TIR peers. And it's people that have been in an accident that come and kind of talk to you and kind of, tell you what life is going to be like. And for me, because my son was 4, my biggest goal was to get home and figure out motherhood from a wheelchair.
Right.
And so I think that was my biggest thing was just that was the goal was getting home to him and trying to learn, because I was in rehab for about 4 months, just relearning how to do things.
Right. I can imagine.
And
Yeah. You spoke a lot
yeah.
about that during that documentary. That's in the link
Oh, okay,
below.
good.
In the link
Good.
below, guys, if you guys want to check that out after this, I'm telling you, it's great. Peter over here said hydrotherapy works really well with pain, which I've heard. I would like to
Right.
try that. And then my buddy Mike says he had to have a spinal cord stimulator implanted for his back pain.
I've heard about that, but I didn't know if it helped.
Yeah, they wanted to do like puncture with me, coming in with some different puncture therapy they do or something. I don't know what
Like
that's about.
not acupuncture?
Not exactly. No, it's like where they put something in you. It's kind of like a numbing agent, I think, all along the back, and you do it once every, I think, 3 months or so.
Wow.
But I don't like needles. I mean, I got tattoos all over the place, but I'm like, I don't like needles. I don't want to do that. So I haven't really
What's
chose to do
that?
that yet. I don't know. It's a weird thing. Like when I get my blood drawn, I can't stand it.
But you got tattoos?
Oh yeah, I have tattoos all over the place. Like
Oh my gosh.
it's different. It's a different thing.
Yeah.
So my other question to you is, what kind of hobbies did you have before and after the accident? Did they change at all? Did you pick something else up new, or was it always hunting? Or
You know what? I studied music in college, and it was a vocal performance major. and we did operas and musicals and things like that. And after the accident, the vocal folds were paralyzed. And so I couldn't really speak above a whisper. And so singing was something that was very important to me before the accident. And, the vocal cords and folds were restored. And I started working with a voice therapist and started singing again. And
Nice.
so I got that love back. And, but other than that, I've really, again, with really good friends and an incredible husband, anything you put your mind to, people can help you with.
Oh,
We go,
exactly.
we found a saddle that was made for a quadriplegic, and it's Velcro straps around my entire torso. So we go horseback riding, we go tubing, we go, just water skiing,
Right.
just anything you can put your mind to. There's an adaptive program there. If you want to go skiing with your kids or your friends or whatever, there's adaptive programs where they'll take you and you can learn to ski in that mono ski. I just used slight movements of my body to move the actual ski. Now I was tethered, but I could, turn myself. And
This
there's
is on the
just
water?
no
Oh, on
snow
the
skiing.
snow. Okay.
Yeah.
I was gonna say in the water, I'm not. You can have fun with that. I'll sit on shore and watch it, but snow would probably be fun.
Yeah, I did some tubing. My husband and son got me on the back of a boat, put me on an inner tube, and
Oh
that
man.
was that was a blast.
Oh, I'm sure. Yeah. Once you get
Yeah,
past the fear aspect of it.
yeah. I think it's just like you say, it's an attitude. If you're willing to, let people help you,
Yeah. That's
you
a
know,
big barrier that I had to break down personally, was like actually kind of asking for help. And I mean, it kind of sucks because you have to accept it. Certain things you can't do. Like certain people can't bend down and pick something up off the ground. Like if they drop their key or something like that,
right?
they can't. They just simply can't physically do it. And it's like I feel lucky enough where I can still do that. So I mean, there are certain things that I try to still do myself, but with my particular level of injury and my particular pain level that I have to deal with, certain things I can't do, and I have to swallow my pride and say, hey, you know what? Can you guys help me do this?
And I will, now that you're talking more about that, I will say I do miss the full use of my hands. There's just, I know you can imagine just the things you are unable to do
Yeah.
that you have others to help you with. But there's there's still adaptive ways for you to do them. It's not quite the same. But being a quadriplegic, it is, you've got your super quads out there, which they, can get in and out of their chairs in a second, almost like a para does.
Right.
And, for me, I have to use a slide board, and if it's too high, I have to have someone help me get in the bed, and, different things like that. So there are some levels of independence that I wish I had.
And another thing I'll say too is it could always be worse. You know what I mean? Like you wake up every morning and you think about, man, look at all the stuff I've lost. But it's like, like comparing even me to you, like I can still have use of my hands. And it's like to think about what I can do with my hands and my arms and you can't do is like, imagine that. It could always be a different level, you know what I mean, of something. So
That's true.
yeah, you don't want to take what you got for granted, kind
No,
of. And that's a whole
no.
nother thing I had to learn too, as being humble and realizing that, hey, you're given a second chance, and that's all there is to it.
Yeah, completely given a second chance. And that's what I do like to tell people is, you can take that second chance, and you can either wallow in it and be depressed and not go anywhere and not do anything, or you can get up and make every single day the best day you can. And if you get down, if you just help one other person, it will make you feel so much better.
That's true. Yeah, I mean that's kind of the way I feel when I do these things. Is it's like I don't get paid for it. It's not something that I do for money or for anything like that. I think it's fun first of all because I'm personally, getting out there and I'm speaking with people, which I love doing. I'm learning new things. I'm learning more about, certain disabilities and other people's, how they handle different situations. And on top of that, I'm actually helping other people, I would think, what I mean, to give them the content that they can watch to feel like, okay, I'm not the only one. Okay, that's how they did that, or look at what they did, or you know what I mean? So yeah, it's definitely worth it, to just try. My next question I already have, I already probably know the answer to, but travel. What do you think about travel? She loves it. Look at her. She's.
Oh my gosh. Okay, I'm so glad you asked. I love to travel. I mean, there are so many people, like I said, wanting and willing to help you do it. If you want, again, since I married my husband, we love to see these beautiful United States of America. And that is just such a biggie. There are so many accessible things. There's accessible trails. There's just so much to go and see. And I actually have a service dog that I got from a group called Canine Companions. And she goes with us.
Oh,
And
nice.
she curls up in the plane, where you say your purse in front of you, that area.
Well, I've never
This
been on a
dog-
plane, but I get what you're saying. Yeah.
This dog will curl up in a little bitty ball, and she is a part lab, part golden retriever.
Oh man.
She'll curl up in a little bitty ball, and we fly everywhere. And we're very well taken care of, and accessibility is all over this world.
Nice. Yeah, for sure. That's one thing that you notice too is places that you can't get in no more that you used to be able to, but how many more places are actually starting to come around to help you out and are willing to say, hey, wait, I got something inside. Let me put it up. We can get you in here. And, they'll actually help you and do what it takes.
And it's all about research.
Oh, yeah.
Barry is my husband. He will research every trip to the last detail to make sure that where we're going is accessible as it can be.
Right.
And we all know as wheelchair users, those of you that are listening, they may say it's got a roll-in shower. It may not always be that roll-in shower you think it's going to be.
No, that's more of a pop a wheelie and get your butt in there.
Yes, that's exactly right.
I know exactly what you're talking about.
There's ways.
Before we get to the last question, I'm going to go ahead and play the clip of that final kill that you got on the elk. Okay. It's just a real quick clip, but we'll go ahead and play it for the people real fast, and then we'll come back and I'll get your final answer for you. So by the way, people, like I said, there is the documentary, the video is in the description down below if you guys want to watch that afterwards. This is her final shot that she hunted with the big elk over in New Mexico. Let's check this out.
Make him bigger. Okay.
Okay, Lynette, he's up. He's coming. Shoot him in the chest.
Ready?
You got him. You got him.
Wow, that's impressive. Still, I look at that, I'm like, wow, that's awesome. But yeah, and then after that final shot, you actually went to the animal. So they put you back in the coyote. Is that what it was?
That
and
was
you went up there?
the neatest part again for me was I knew how far away it was. And so for them to put me into that coyote, strap me in and say, we're going. And, I'm walking beside them and here comes a big creek. I'm like, how am I going to get over that creek? And they said, you're going to gun it. And so I just pushed back. And I flew over the creek and you You go over trees, you go over, it's an amazing little vehicle. And it's
Right.
light enough that if you get kind of stuck somewhere, someone just picks up the back end and
And
scoots you
scoot
over.
you? Nice.
So I don't think I realized how large an elk was. Because when you get there and you're looking at this, I mean, they're very large animals and they're
Yeah.
just beautiful.
From that
So
video, you
majestic.
can't really tell how big it is until like the end of in the documentary, which is in the link in the description, guys. Once you go up there and I see you hold on to his antler, like you're literally up here holding on to and it's not even the top. There's still more to
No.
go, and it was just like wow. And then watching them carry it down, like they actually did the took it really apart right there, right? Kind of pieced him out and then brought him down.
Yeah.
And every
they-
piece of him was used, I'm sure, and
Oh, yes.
yeah, it's typical fashion.
It was really neat because right when we got back to camp, they had the tenderloins and they took it straight, put just a little seasoning on it and put that on the grill.
Oh, that's probably
and
delicious.
All had tenderloin
Nice.
that night. So that was pretty cool.
That is awesome. My final question for you, Lynette, is what is the best piece of advice you would give to somebody right now who has been newly injured? So just like me, when I was laying in that hospital bed and I'm looking at YouTube and I'm watching this, what would be the biggest piece of advice?
First of all, I would say, don't be so hard on yourself. Take your time and don't ever give up. Don't quit. Something that I loved at the rehab hospital I was in, they said, don't say you can't. Say, I can't yet.
Right. I like
and
that.
just keep that attitude of, and an attitude of gratitude will get you a long way.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Well, I appreciate you coming along and telling us about, everything, answering our questions. And it's been a blast. I mean, that video I put in my saves because I'm like, that's just something you can watch and show people, you know what I mean? From time to time, you can
Good.
keep pulling
Please
it back
do.
up. Yeah, so
Good.
definitely if you get a chance and you talk to those people again, or maybe I will, let them know they did a great job.
I will happily tell them.
For sure.
Keep spreading the good news.
Yep, and then what we're going to do is stay with me after we're done here, and then we'll close out. And then I think what we're going to do is we're going to keep all of our people that we've talked to, and then we might check up on you. It might be a year or
Okay.
something. We'll call it, come back to you and
Yeah.
see how you're doing, see how everything's going. Have some follow-up questions or something, and then we'll keep you in the family, so to speak.
That sounds good.
All right. Well, thanks all our viewers for watching. Thanks for all the questions. If you guys know anybody that would be interested in doing a Wheelchair Wednesday, please, just send me a message, hit me on up, and we'll go from there. Otherwise, we will see you next Wednesday with another special guest. Thank you all for watching, and we'll see you later.